Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So welcome back. Today we're going to do the Halloween special, which is going to be on my Werewolf Commander deck, which is Tovolar Dire Overlord. And before we start the video, I'm going to dedicate this video. So this is the view from the game room window at the moment. The weather's not looking the best in the UK at the moment anyway. Alright. So this video is going to be dedicated to the memory of one of our friends who used to run our Tuesday Magic thing. They used to run the drafts, and unfortunately they passed away recently. So this video is dedicated to the memory of Richard Lovell. And he needs to say thank you for everything you did for the game, Richard. And he was to say your memory will live on anyway. And he needs to say I remember you for lots of things, mainly your love of the different lands in Magic. Alright, we're going to say we're going to get on with the video today. So this is going to be the Halloween special. So for those that don't know, so we're back on now. So we're going to talk about the various things. So so it's coming up to Halloween. So what creatures do you associate with Halloween most? And we need to say there are various different ones that come to mind. As you say, there's vampires, one of the obvious ones. We're going to show that deck at a later date. Anyway, and we say zombies being another one, and this one, what we're going to feature today. So today's deck is going to be Tovolar, the Dire Overlord. So this, basically, there were two sets of werewolves that have come out in Magic. They're basically all based on, most of the werewolves are based on the plane of Innistrad, which are where they originate from. And we need to say that so they're basically being two sets, Innistrad sets or blocks, which is the original one and the one this came from, the Midnight Hunt. So before this set of werewolves, this deck didn't really have a good commander. I used to play Ulrich, and I'll show you him later. And you say Tovolar is what the deck needed, basically, because this deck used to be not so good, and now it's it's probably a 7 out of 10. I'll link I'll link the deck on Moxfield. I haven't uploaded the list for it yet, but I've been busy. I've been doing various things. I've doing lots of content for various things on YouTube, and I haven't got around to uploading all the deck lists. I've done it on paper, and I just haven't got around to uploading all the lists. Anyway, I'll do the list at some point, and I'll link the decks on Moxfield. I think this is probably a 7 out of 10. Anyway, this is Tovolar Dire Overlord. So he costs 1, a red and a green. So for those that don't know werewolves in Magic, I'll probably explain a bit about how werewolves work. So the older werewolves, which aren't these ones that originate from the original Innistrad, basically have a mechanic that there's which is affected which is how they transform. So basically, a werewolf on the original ones will transform when a player doesn't play any spells in any turn. So the reason why I didn't think these were very good is because it punishes players that couldn't play spells, and then they basically flip and they transform to another side. So all the werewolves are double-sided gods. So like they've got a front and a back side. So they start on this side, and then they go to another side based on that transformation. So the original ones basically didn't transform when someone didn't play a spell on your turn. So you basically, normally you didn't play a spell and passed, and the werewolf will transform, or the opponent, and then if either player plays 2 spells, they transform back. The newer ones, though, I have a slightly different one. So they have a mark in the top corner, which I don't know if you can see it on them. It's not necessarily on all of them, and it says day or night bound. So basically, when a thing comes that triggers day, so basically, as it becomes day, you transform all night bound permanents, and if a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. So this is the day, this is just the marker for you how to realize it, and then there's night. So basically, as it becomes night, you transform all day-bound permanents. Permanents enter the battlefield night-bound, so they enter with their night side face up. And if a player casts at least 2 spells during their turn, it becomes night next turn. So that's basically just how the newer ones transform, and they are slightly different on how they work. So Tovolar is the commander. So basically the aim of the deck is to basically get down a load of werewolves, and then you basically transform them. But Tovolar is the best way to transform them now. I'll read Tovolar anyway. Tovolar is a 1 of red and a green for 3/3, and it's a legendary creature. It's a human werewolf. And whenever a wolf or werewolf you control, there's some wolves in the deck as well as werewolves. They're both kinds. and it's either of them you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's green card advantage, which is good. As a lot of these aggro-based decks can run out of gas and struggle to go into the mid-game. And it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, it becomes night, then transform any number of human werewolves you control. And then he goes into this thing. So he becomes he's a 4/4. And it's still got the same thing. Whenever wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to play a draw card. And it's got Kessig Wolf Run on it, which is a land, basically. So this is basically X of red and green. Target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X/+O and gains trample until end of turn. Alright, that's the general, that's Tovolar, and that's the main thing of the thing, is to get a load of werewolves, get Tovolar down, transform all your things, and then play some of the things, buff them, and various stuff. Alright, so let's start with the werewolves in the deck. Let's start with the multicoloured ones. Some of these okay. I'll start with the multicoloured ones. There are only 3. So let's start with the smallest ones and go forward. So we go in terms of CMC. There's going to be 3 multicoloured ones, I think. So this is one of the new ones. This is Kessig Naturally. It's a red-green for a 2/2. It's whenever it attacks, add red or green. Until the end of the turn, you don't lose mana as steps and phases end, so you can use them for the end turn. It's a 2/2. It's just mana acceleration, and it flips into this guy, which becomes a 3/3. It's like a lord, so it's other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1, and it's whether it attacks, add red or green until end of turn. You don't lose the mana as phases end, so it's a 3/3. That's pretty good. Then we have so this is Huntmaster of the Fells. So this is 2 red and green. So this actually saw play in 60-card format play as well. This is one of the few werewolves to see constructed play. Anyway, this is a 2/2. And it's whenever it enters the battlefield or transforms into Huntmaster of the Fells, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token and you gain 2 life. And it flips if no spells were cast last turn. And then it flips into the Ravager of the Fells, not to be confused with Arcbound Ravager or Ravager in Minion Masters for people that play that game and have seen some of my other content. And I say that's a 4/4 with trample. It's when it transforms into the Ravager of the Fells, it deals 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage and up to 1. Yeah, it's 2 damage to target opponent and 2 damage up to 1 target creature that player controls. So you don't need to have a target for one of them. At the beginning of each upkeep, if he casts 2 more spells, he flips back. So that was the Huntmaster, probably one of the best werewolves to see play. And this was the old general of the deck. So this, before Tovolar, was the only one of 2 options for the commander, unless you had the obscure one, the Naya werewolf that was only saw like a promo printing. So this is 3 of red and a green for a 4/4. It's whenever this enters the battlefield or transforms into Ulrich of Kilnhold, target creature +4/+4 until end of turn. And it's the beginning of each upkeep, flip again. And it flips into when this creature transforms into it, you may have it fight target non-werewolf creature you don't control. And it's got the transform clause. I won't bother to mention the transform clause in. Alright, those are the multicoloured werewolves. Let's go to the monocoloured ones. So we'll start with the green one. So this is a human werewolf. So this is basically doesn't have a transform. But it's in the deck anyway because it's got a good ability. It's a green for 3/3, which is already oversized for that. It's got pack tactics. It's when it's attacked. If you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, this turn draw a card. And it's 3 and a green until the end of turn. Werewolf pack leader has base tower and toughness 5/5, gains trample and isn't human. And that's good outside if you're playing werewolves. It's just good in general in kind of green based decks, depending on various other synergies. Right, now we'll go on to the ones that actually transform. Okay, so we've got this one. So this is Overworld Captive. So this is 1 in a green for a 1/2. It has defender, so it's basically a mana dork. Basically, but it has some of the werewolf synergies. So it basically taps to add green to your mana pool. And this is have 5 green to transform. So you can pay mana to transform. There's a series of werewolves like that. And it transforms into this thing, which is Overworld Abomination. Tap, it becomes an Eldrazi. There's a cycle of these ones that were like that. And it taps for 2 colourless, so into a 4/6. It's just a mana dork, really, which is good. My dog's trying to get in. She hasn't been on the video for a while. Let's let her in. We're going to let her in. Hello, Soph. For these that don't know, this is Soph. She's been on the channel lots of times. She's my dog. She's a Shih Tzu. She's basically just had her haircut, so she's looking a bit trimmer than normal. Anyway, say hello, Soph. You say hello, YouTube. Nice to see you. Good girl. Anyway, if you hear any noise in the background, it's Soph. I had to move her bed out to film. Anyway, good girl. Yep, we're doing about the larger dogs, Soph, or wolves. Anyway, we'll carry on. So this is Scorn Villager. It's a 1 in green for a 1/1. It taps to add green to your mana pool, and it becomes this when it transforms. So it becomes a 2/2 with Vigilance, and taps to add double green to your mana pool. And this is Mayor of Averbrook. I thought this one saw a bit of constructed play as well. So this was the promo at the time for when you used to get fixed promos when you went to the pre-release or release event kind of thing. Anyway, this is Mayor of Averbrook for 1 in green for 1/1. It becomes other human creatures you control get +1/+1. So it basically pumps most of the werewolves as they're normally human on one of the sides. And then it becomes this when it transforms. So this is Howpack Alpha. It becomes a 3/3. And it becomes a Lord. So it's either werewolf and wolves you control. So it +1/+1. So then it will probably pump everything in the deck, or very nearly everything. And it's the beginning of end step. Put a 2/2 green wolf on token onto the battlefield. Bless me. Right, so the next one is Duskwatch Recruiter. So quite a lot of these are foiled though, so I apologise for the glare on the camera. I'm trying best that I can to film these videos, but the glare on some of the foils are a pain. Anyway, so this is Duskwatch Recruiter. So this is 1 in a green for a 2/2. This guy has seen lots of play in 60 card various formats, and he's pretty good. Even outside werewolves, the abilities on it's pretty good. So it's 2 in a green. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So he's a very good card in general, and most of the deck is creatures anyway. And it becomes this Night Cranhorde Howler. So 3/3, it reduces the cost of creature spells you cost by 1 colourless less. That's that one. And then we've got Outland Liberator. So these werewolves from the Midnight Hunt kind of thing had these various different artworks. So they've got, each one has about 2 different artworks. Some of them are in this, and some of them have a different kind of style of artwork. It's just pick which one you prefer. I mean, I've got a mix and match of each one. I think I've got nearly all of them in both varieties. I'm missing the Commander Tovolar in foil though. If anyone that knows me has one of those in foil, please get in touch. I'm interested. I mean, say this one is 1 and sacrifice it. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's day bound. It's on 2/2. Flips into... It's basically, anyway, it's artifact and enchantment removal, which is really good. Most green decks need at least some of each of those and thing. So this becomes 1 and sack, which is the same thing, but it also gains, whenever it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls on a 3/3. Then, I mean, some of the werewolves don't look the best on the front side, but you're looking at basically some... I've dropped some of the mediocre ones when the second Innistrad came out to try and get some better ones. But some of them aren't that great on the front side, and you're trying to look at the balance between, are they any good on the back and the front? Anyway, this is a 3/3 for 2 in a green with trample. It's got 3 in a green, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Becomes when you flips into a 4/4 with trample. Other wolves and werewolves you control have trample. That's quite key in this deck, is giving the things trample, but there's lots of ways to give them trample. And then it also has 3 in the green, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Then we have Hermit of the Natanals, so it's 2 in the green for a 2/3. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, draw a card, so it's good against the people that like to play blue decks with various interaction spells. And it flips into whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, draw 2 cards. I mean, most of these werewolves are going to auto-transform in your upkeep due to Tovolar anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Then we go to 2 in a green. This is Daybreak Ranger. I think this might have seen some constructed play. And it becomes it's a 2/2. It taps for deal 2 damage target creature with flying. Flips into Nightfall Predator, which is a 4/4. So then it has red. It fights target creature. Then we go Howpack Piper. So this is similar to Elvish Piper, but it's on a werewolf. So this is 3 in a green for a 2/2. This can't be countered. It's 1 in green. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If it's a wolf or werewolf, untap Howpack Piper, so you can use it to put in a lot of creatures into play, and basically they get around various things that would enable them to be countered. And it's whenever it flips into the Wild Song Howler, which is a 4/4. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transformed, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. Then we go on to something that doesn't really... is it a werewolf or is it a boggle? It's a bit of both, really. It's what the cross between them. For those that don't know, boggle are various things that basically can't be targeted by the opponent normally. So this is a big boggle or a big werewolf. So it's for a green and a green for a 4/4 with hexproof, which means it can't be targeted by the opponent's spells. It's at the beginning of combat on your turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control. Flips into this. Oh, so worth bearing in mind, if you look at the front side, you can see what the number above the bigger number is the number they'll flip into in the back. It's just an enable way for you to not have to constantly keep flipping them to try and work out what they do. So this one, as you can see, flips into a 6/6. And it becomes Howlhenge Huntmaster, which is a 6/6 with hexproof. Its other permanents you control have hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So I had that in one of my last games I played, and it basically gave me quite a big board, and it enabled me to get through 2 players. I couldn't quite win the game, but I came second. Alright. So this is the last of the green werewolves, anyway, in the deck. This is Tovolar's Huntmaster. So this is a green and a green for a 6/6, actually. When it enters the battlefield, create 2/2 wolf tokens, and it's daybound. And it flips into this, which is a 7/7. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2/2 green wolves. It also has 2 green and green, another target wolf or wolf you control fights target creature you don't control, which is good against getting rid of the blockers the opponent has. Right, now on to the red creatures. Not as many of these, but werewolves are across 2 colours. They're red and green. Okay, we've got Kryn Outlaws. So this is one a red and a red for human werewolf. It's a 2/2 with first strike. And it flips into this, which is Terror of Kryn Pass. So this is a 3/3 with double strike, and each werewolf you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So that's effectively, I believe it's Madcap skills, and it's got the transform clause on it. Don't need to go into that. And we've got Conduit of the Storms, which is another one of the Eldrazi werewolf horror kind of things. What did people feel about werewolves and Eldrazi crossed? I'm not sure how that works in reality, but there we go. Anyway. 2 and a red for a 2/3. Whenever it attacks, add red to your mana pool at the beginning of your next main phase. And it has you can transform it for 3, a red and a red. Transforms into this one, Conduit of Emrakul, which is a 5/4. Whenever it attacks, add 2 colours to your mana pool, and at the beginning of your next main phase. Then we've got Reckless Stormchaser, which is a... To me, that looks a bit like Chandra. It's got some of the red hair, and it looks like it's got the gauntlet goggles of Chandra. I've got a Chandra deck as well. I'll feature that in another video at some point. And for those that don't know, I've been doing these for nearly a couple of years now. And when you say I've got about 42 Commander decks at last count, oh no, I think it might be 43. I bought some of the Doctor Who precons as well, but whether I really count those as the ones or not. Anyway, I'm going to leave the Doctor Who precons as stock anyway to play against people that have less powerful decks or precons. Alright. So I'm enjoying the Doctor Who Commander decks as well. I got the Timey-Wimey one, and I also got the Villains one. I have yet to play the Villains one, but I've played Timey-Wimey quite a few times. It's quite good. I think it's basically like a suspend deck, for those that don't know that mechanic. Anyway, this is 2 and a red for a 2/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until the end of turn. Useful in various things, normally your commander. And it flips into this. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and trample and haste. Then we have Gaia Reach Bandit. This is 2 and a red for a 3/2 with haste. Transforms into the Vildian Pack Alpha. Whenever a werewolf enters the battlefield under your control, you may transform it. So that's basically useful for all werewolves. Then we got Breakneck Rider. So this is one a red and a red for a 3/3. Also transforms into this. It's attacking creatures you control, get +1/+0 and trample at the beginning of each upkeep. But it's got the transform clause, you don't need to know. when we got Monodrone Shaman, so this was the promo given away at the time. Memories, that was when they were fixed promos. This is 3 and a red for a 3/2. Transforms into a 5/5, and it's when their opponent casts a spell. This Mage Hunter deals 2 damage to the player. That's opponent only though, that one. Then we've got Afflicted Deserter, so it's 3 and a red for a 3/2. Not much good on that side, but when it flips, it becomes the Werewolf Ransacker, which is a 5/4, and it's when the creature transformed into Werewolf Ransacker may be destroyed target artifact. If the artifact is put into graveyard, Werewolf Ransacker deals 3 damage to the controllers. So that's smashed to smithereens, I believe, which is a 1 and a red instant. This is Fangblade Brigand, 3 and a red for a 3/4. It has 1 and a red. It gets +1/+0 first strike. It's the Daybound one. So then it becomes a 4/5 with 1 and a red for it gets +1/+0 first strike, and then 4 and a red. Its creatures you control get +2/+0. Then we've got Village Watch, 4 red and a 4/3 for haste. I'm not sure this one's fantastic. If we get more werewolves, I might be taking it out. So then it becomes... Oh yeah, actually I'm probably playing it because this side is actually quite good. The front side isn't very good. It's a 5/4 with wolves and werewolves you control of haste. Yeah, the front's not fantastic. The back side is though. Make it worth playing. 3 and a red for Instigator Gang for 2/3. It's attacking creatures you control of +1/+0. And then it becomes Wild Blood Pack for a 5/5 trample. Attacking creatures you control get +3/+0. Right, those are the Werewolves of sorts, and then we've got the Wolves. There's some. I mean, you say those that don't know me. It's like I like wrestling as well. In the thing, and the Wolves were a good wrestling tag team. So they're composed of Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. I mean, one of them is still in Impact, and one of them wrestles in MLW now as well. Anyway, so that was the Wolves in wrestling. Anyway, we'll move on with the Magic. Okay, so we've got the Immerwolf. So this is 1 red and a green. This is a multicolored one. So this has got Intimidate on 2/2. So those that don't know, Intimidate is this creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that control a colour with it. It's a Wolf Lord, so it pumps other wolves and werewolves. And it's non-human werewolves you control can't transform. So you can lock them in once they've flipped. They've got Cemetery Prowler. This is just a good card anyway. This doesn't need to be in a werewolf deck. It's good in various green-based decks. So it's 1 in green and green for a 3/4 with Vigilance, which means doesn't tap to attack. So it's when a Cemetery Prowler enters the battlefield or attacks. Oh, my dog's left now. The battlefield or attacks, exile card from a graveyard. So it's graveyard hate. And it's supposed you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card type that they share with cards exiled with Cemetery Prowler. So if you exile an instant and cast an instant, it's 1 less, etc, etc. Then we've got some more Wolves. This is the foil one, the promo one. And this is Primal Adversary. So this is 2 and a green for a 4/3 with Trample. It's when it enters the battlefield, you may play 1 and green any number of times. When you do play this cast, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Then up to that many target lands you control become 3/3 wolf creatures with haste that are still lands, so it animates your lands. That's worth bearing in mind. You might not want to do that depending if you think people have instant speed removal spell for stuff. I mean, this is Wolfear Silverheart. I thought this one was good in 60 carder as well. So this is 3 green and green for 4/4. So this is from, what set's this from? Can't actually remember. It's the one which has Soulbound on it. So Soulbound, for those that don't know, is you may pair this creature with another unpaired creature. When it either enters the battlefield, they remain paired for as long as you control both of them. And it's as long as it is paired with another creature. Each of these creatures get +4/+4. So it's basically an 8/8 as long as it's bonded with something and whatever else the other one is. And this is Spirit of the Hunt, so this is 1 in green and green. This is a 3/3. It has flash means which you can play as an instant speed, and it's when Spirit of the Hunt enters the battlefield, each other creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +0/+3. Good against if people play various damage-based board wipes like Anger of the Gods, Sail, stuff like that. This is Silverfur Partisan. This is protection against... Well, it's not really protection, it's more like ways to discourage people from targeting your werewolves. It's 2 and a green for a 2/2. It has Trample. It's when a wolf or werewolf you control becomes target of an instant or sorcery spell, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. And the last wolf is Nightpack Ambushers. It's 2 green and a green for a 4/4 flash. With other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1. And at the beginning of end step, if you didn't cast a spell, create a 2/2 wolf on a 4/4. This is the foil promo one. Right, so now we go on to the ones that aren't really either wolf or werewolf. I'll explain as we go. So we've got the changeling. I don't really count it as a thing, but it's just a good card. It's good in most creature tribal decks. This is Realm Walker that came out in Kaldheim. This is the promo version. So this is 2 and a green for a 2/3. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library. Anytime you may cast creature spells of the chosen type from top of the library. Then we've got Master of the Wild Hunt, that's a proxy. I think I've got another one actually that I opened a list copy somewhere, I'll have to find it. And this is 2 green and green for a 3/3. Came out in M10 originally. And at the beginning of your upkeep, put a 2/2 green wolf onto the battlefield. It's tap all untapped wolves you control. Each wolf tap this way deals damage to equal to its power to target creature. Then they deal damage to him, so it's not a one-sided fight, it's just fight. Then we've got Cult of the Waxing Moon, so this is like good value for when you transform things. So it's 4 and a green. It's not a wolf though, it's a human shaman. There's a wolf in the picture anyway. For a 5/4, it's when a permanent you control transforms into a non-human creature, put a 2/2 green wolf token onto the battlefield. Right, and the last one is Magus of the Moon. I think it's on theme. Werewolves and like a kind of moon and thing are on theme. If your play group might be against this, I would like, well, I can justify playing it in mine. I'm just like most of my group don't care. So this is Magus and Moon 2, red and a red. It's for the iconic card. It's non-basic lands and mountains, and you can make good use of this on a 2/2. Right. That's the creatures. Let's get on with the things. I'll do the planeswalkers next because there's some of those. They're all on theme, so they're Arlins. Arlin, for those that don't know, is like kind of like a werewolf kind of planeswalker. So this is the original Arlin core. This is from the FTV Transform. Some of these cards came from FTV Transform. For some reason, they decided to do that. I think there were 2 werewolves, and there was this and one of the ones I showed earlier. Anyway, this is Arlin core. So 2. A red and a green. There's also the other one that becomes a green and card, and it becomes a black card on the back. I'm not playing that because of the colours, but like if it's on theme but not on colours. Anyway, so this is Island Chords. It's a 3 loyalty planeswalker. Its +1 is until end of turn up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 vigilance and haste. 0 is created 2/2 green wolf transform Island Chord and becomes Arlin embraced by the moon. Its +1 is creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample. There's lots of ways to give things trample in this deck. -1 is Arlin Cord deals 3. Arlin embraced by the moon. Sorry, not on Cord deals 3 damage to creature or player. Transform back. Its -6 is you get an emblem with creatures you control have haste and tap. This creature deals damage. It its power to target creature or player. All right, that's Arlin, and we go Arlin. The Pack's Hope for 2 red and a green for 4 loyalty. This is Daybound, this one. And it's until +1 is until your next turn you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. And each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Its -3 is create 2/2 green wolves. Then we have Arlin the Moon's Fury. So its +2 is add red green. Its 0 is until the end of turn. It becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. One of the there's only so many planeswalkers that can animate into thing. Gideon is one of them. That's another one, and then there's one of the Sarkans. Oh yeah, one of the Sarkans can become a dragon as well. Anyway, now we will move on to the. We'll do the enchantments first. So the enchantments in the deck are they're mainly you're trying to buff your various things. It's basically concerned with buffing. They're pumping your team and doing various things, and there's some other ones that are designed to protect and stuff. Anyway, we'll explain as we go along. So our first one is Blood Moon. I've got this one in here currently. I did though currently get one of their biz. Anyway, Blood Moon is being reprinted recently. It's in the new Wilds of Eldraine, which it's on the enchantment extra sheet. So there are a lot of extra copies of Blood Moon. If you're trying to pick up this card now, either for Commander or various other purposes, it's probably as low as it will go at this point. Anyway, this is Blood Moon, the iconic 2 and a red. It's non-basic lands or mountains, and your deck's designed to function with it in play. Alright, But it's to say we've got aggravated assault. This is one's a proxy, but it's 2 red for an enchantment. It's 3 red, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability anytime you as a sorcery. We have Shared Animosity. This is basically in the deck. It's like I'm not a huge fan of some of these cards, but like I'm trying to find additional cards that will do what I want them to do, and this does most of it. Anyway, it's whether creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. And this got a reprint in Commander 20, so it's quite cheap. Then we have Breaker's Onslaught, another buffing thing. So this is what gave me second place in the last game I played. I think the sun's trying to come out. This is a bit late from the game room window. Anyway, the sun's trying to come out anyway. So this is Breaker's Onslaught for 3 and a red. It's from Dragons of Tarkir. Anyway, it's attacking creatures you control have double strike. And then we have Howling Moon. So this is basically a 2 and a green for an enchantment. It's the beginning of combat. On your turn, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It's when an opponent casts their second spell each turn, create a 2/2 green wolf token. Then we have Full Moon's Rise. This is one of the best cards in the deck. This is 1 and green. It's werewolf creatures you can draw +1/+0 and trample, and it's sack Full Moon Rise to regenerate all werewolf creatures you control. It doesn't protect some of the things like the wolves, but like it protects most of them. Anyway, so this is Unnatural Growth. This is one of the more color intensive cards in the deck. It's like quad green. How many other cards are there with quad green in the cast? Not very many anyway. So this is 1 and green for Unnatural Growth. It's at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. This is worth bearing in mind, it's all combat phases, not just yours. So you can use it on the defense or the offense. Alright. This is Ranger Class. So this is 1 and a green for an enchantment. So it's basically levels are, for those that don't know, levels up as a sorcery, and it basically has a thing when it gets to the various steps. So on the first thing, it's make a 2/2 green wolf creature token. On level 2, it's whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It's 3 and green. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Then we've got Halpak Resurgence for 2 and green. So this is a flash enchantment where each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +1/+1 and trample. Then we have we have Lurking Predators. So I also have this in various other decks as well. So it's 4 green and green. For when another opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. I may put the card on the bottom of the library. When we go Rhythm of the Wild, so this is 1 a red and a green. For creature spells you control can't be countered, which is good against various synergies. I'm getting various pop-ups coming up on my spoiler for people about the new set that's coming out, Caverns of Ix, coming up in 2 weeks. I mean, say for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan people, I'm going to do a pack opening video. It's going to be on the release week. I'll be doing a pack opening video, so join me for the pack opening video. It's where I'm going to crack some packs from the new set and see what I pull, and we'll see what I get. I need to say also I'm going to be doing when the after the set came out was the new set's going to be like dinosaurs, pirates, and various things. So I'm basically going to feature my dinosaur commander deck in the next episode, which is currently Gisef, which I will be showcasing, and I'll be putting into the new upgrades. I'll probably be getting the new set of precons anyway, and it's non-token creatures you control, and I hope you can join me for that. And I say like, comment, and subscribe. And for those that don't know, I'm Matthew, and this is Matthew Hawker Gaming. I also do various video gaming and other content as well. And this is non-token creatures you control have rights, so which is either they enter the battlefield with your choice of +1/+1 counter or haste. Anyway, we're nearly there. We're just going through the spells, and then we'll get to the thing. And then we have the ramp package, which is mostly what you play in various green decks. So this is Cultivate this is the M21 promo one, I believe. Or is that just a foil one? No, I don't think that's promo. I think that's just a foil one. So this is 2 new green for a thing. It's search a library for 2 basic land cards, reveal land, put onto battlefield tapped, and the one into battlefield tapped, the other to hand and shuffle library. We've got Kadama's Reach, which is basically the same thing. Search for 2 basics. It's basic Cultivate again. And we've got Rampant Growth. Pick your favourite artwork. Then we've got the various artifacts, which are basically equipment. So they're basically protection for your commander and various other factors. So this one is sorry, I'm just recovering from a bit of a cold. Anyway, Whisper Silk Cloak is basically slightly less well known. This is 3 mana. It's slightly more cost intensive than other equipment, but it's quite good. It's a quick creature, it's unblockable and can't be targeted spells or abilities, but it's worth bearing in mind you won't be able to use any of your abilities on it. It's mainly to make your creature unblockable. It's 2 mana to equip. You've got the obligatory Swift Boots, which is 2 equipped creatures hexproof and haze for 1. And then we've got Lightning Greaves. We've got this version, so 2 mana in equip 0, equipped creature haste and shroud. Got some mana rocks. We've got Arcane Signet. Don't really need to explain that one. We've got Celestas. This one is worth explaining. So this was one of the best cards in this set for the Werewolf deck. So this is the Celestas. It's basically a mana rock for 3 mana, but it's a legendary artifact. It's neither day nor night. It becomes day as the Celestas. So it enters the battlefield. It taps to add mana of any colour. It's 3 mana. If it's night, it becomes day. Otherwise, it becomes night. Activate only as a sorcery. And it's whether day becomes night or night becomes day. You may gain 1 life. You may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. We've got the Talisman. So it's Talisman Impulse. It's a red-green Talisman. It's 2 mana for tap. Add 1 to your mana pool. Or tap for red or green at a cost of 1 life. Then we've got Soul Ring. No need to explain that. And we've got some protection spells. We've got Heroic Intervention for 1 and green. Permanency Control, Hexproof and Indestructible until end of turn. Then we've got Moon Mist. Alright, so this one's worth explaining. So this is basically like a werewolf fog. But like this isn't a bad one. This is 1 and a green. It transforms all humans, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn by creatures other than werewolves and wolves. So it's like a one-sided kind of fog that can have the benefit of transforming all your team if they aren't transformed already. And then we've got Savage Beating. Yep, that's a proxy. This card's relatively expensive. I think it's about 20 something at the time of the. It's a really good card though. It's hasn't been printed in a while. It's 3 red and a red for a instant. Play only during your turn and only during combat. Is choose 1 creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. Untap all creatures you control, and after this phase there is an additional combat phase. It has Entwine, which is 1 and a red. So basically if you're paying 7 for it, you're basically getting an additional combat phase, and all your creatures are going to have double strike. And the last spell, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, so this is a reserve list card. It's one of the reserve list cards in the deck. If you don't have this card, I just play something else. So, but this is basically means 2 and a red. All players can discard their hand and draw 7 new cards. So this is basically a way to if you get into a position where you're running out of gas, and it enables you to basically restart with drawing a new hand. Right, those are all the creatures. Now let's go into the land, which are the last part. Okay, so I've got as I say normally. So it's basically if you try and get as many of the proper dual lands as you can. But if you don't have them, I wouldn't particularly worry about it. Just play some more basics or some that come into play tap lands, but try to avoid as many come into play tap lands as you can, because you generally will just want the land untapped most of the time, regardless. So we will show some of them. So these are 2 spells. They're from the Zendikar Rising. So this Zendikar Rising set had spells and land, which are they're like double face cards again, which are quite useful. So they're quite versatile. So on one side you have a spell, and the other side you have a land. So this one is the green one. So this is Turn Timber Symbiosis. These ones are mythics, these ones. So they're slightly harder to get and more expensive. So it's 4 or 5 green, 4 and triple green. For look at the top 7 cards of your library, you may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If the card is converted mana cost 3 or less, it enters the battlefield with 3 additional +1/+1 counters. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And the backside is it's tapped for green. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life. But it's the versatility of these, and I quite like the flip kind of mechanic from those. It gives you a bit more versatility. It can be a land or a spell. Anyway, this is the red equivalent of this. I think my dog's just running down the corridor. Anyway, she just went for a walk. Anyway, so this is Shatter Skull Smashing, the red equivalent. So this is an X spell on a land. So this is red and a red. It deals X damage as you choose amongst up to 2 target creatures or planeswalkers. If X is 6 or more, it deals twice damage divided as you choose amongst them instead. And it flips into Scattershell, the Hammer Pass, which is the same thing. It's a tap land unless you pay 3 life. Then we've got the versatile land. So this is Kessid Wolfrun. A great card, one of the best cards with Wolf in the name anyway. I played this in various decks over the years anyway. This is Kessid Wolfrun. As it taps for 1 colourless or X red and green, its target creature you control get +X/+0 and gains trample. Then we have Path of Ancestry, which is essential in nearly all tribal decks. It's at 1 mana of your, it enters tapped, but it adds 1 mana of any colour in your commander's colour identity. When the mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Then we've got the, forgot to take this one out. It's a double-sided card. Let's see if I can do it without. Sorry about that. I had to get the thing out. Right, it's just from the Zendikar thing. So it's from Battle for Zendikar. So this is red, green, flip lands. They enter untapped, no drawback. Red land on one side, green land on the other side. Pretty good. Then we've got Rockfell Vale. So this is from the Midnight Hunt. So it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Not really a drawback. Red-green Scry 1 land, Temple, very good. Rootbound Crag. Red-green Jewel enters tapped unless you control mountain or forest, but that's nearly other land. Copies in the Forest, red-green Pain land. Foothills, Sack land. Take Original Jewel. Yep, that's the only jewel I actually have 4 copies of the real ones, and they're in other decks. Stomping Ground, pick your thing. I probably prefer the original ones, but I've only got so many of those. And then the most expensive card in the deck, and if you don't have it, don't worry about it, people. It's Gaia's Cradle. It's pretty good in all green creature decks. I mean, this is legal in Commanding, yet stuff like Tolarian Academy aren't. I mean, say this is one of the best green lands in Magic anyway, and it's probably slightly under 1,000. It's probably around 800 and something. So I mean, if you don't have it, don't worry about it. And that's the bulk of the deck. I mean, then we just round out the deck with the basic lands. It's going to be 1, 2, find your favourite ones, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mountains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 14 forests. Alright. That's the end of today's video. I hope you join me in a couple of weeks. We're going to be cracking some packs for the new Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Then we're also going to have later I'm going to be doing my next Commander video. Will probably be about my Gisef Dinos Commander deck once I've gone through the cards from the new set and upgraded it. Anyway, as always, I will link the list on Moxfield when I'm done, and I will put it in the description. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. And we say those that know me, know me. I know I love my Commander, and I love my Limited as well. Anyway, if you could like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, that would be very good. Oh, sorry, I've got a couple more things. I haven't shown you the tokens. I'll show you the tokens before I go. That's one of the wolves. There are quite a few different ones. There's this one and this one. And we've also got the Olenin called Emblem. So the emblem is creatures you control have haste and tap. This creature deals damage. It controls power to target creature or player. Right, that's the end of the video. And we said that for those that don't know, I also do various video game content as well. I mean, you say I also do. So those that I'm doing various from a Magic player's perspective videos. These are mainly going to be about digital games. They're going to be mainly TCGs. So I've done about various other games from a Magic player's perspective. I've done one on Rune Terror. I've done one on Hearthstone. And I've done one on Eternal. I may be doing one about maybe Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon TCG or something along those lines. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next month. Thanks very much for watching. See ya. Bye.